it's 1:30, right? And the UTC, of course, you know, many of you have different time settings, but anyway, yes, so it's let me start this IAG webinar entitled Contributions of Geomorphologists to the International Geodiversity Day. I'm Takashi Omuchi from the University of Tokyo, Japan, and I'm going to chair the first three presentations. As you know, the International Geodiversity Day started this year, and while preparing for establishing this day, geomorphologists and also many geomorphological societies made a lot related to the forms geomorphology. So we in IAG executive committee yes, decided to have this IAG webinar. Yeah, a little bit later than the actual Geodiversity Day. Yeah, it is October 6th. Yeah, but still within 1 week. So yeah, and this is also the very first event organized by new IAG executive committee. Last month in Coimbra, Portugal, new IAG executive committee members elected. So yeah, we hope this event is very successful, and I really appreciate your attendance. Already around 60 people. This is a very good number.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. It depends where you are. So I would like to say some words about the importance of the International Geodiversity Day. As you know, it is proclaimed by UNESCO 1 year ago on 23rd November 2021. David Attenborough, very popular man, and he published a book in 2020, and he wrote some sentences about biodiversity. On the right side, you can read three sentences, and the same words we can use regarding geodiversity. The real tragedy of our time is the progressive loss of our planet's geodiversity. Enormous geodiversity is necessary for the existence of life. The greater the geodiversity, the safer life is on Earth, including ours. Yet it is our human lifestyle that poses the greatest threat to geodiversity. So therefore, we should protect geodiversity as strongly as biodiversity, and perhaps even more than biodiversity. Very shortly, definition of geodiversity published by Mary Gray and me, and first of all by Australian Natural Heritage Chart. Geodiversity means the natural range of geological, geomorphological, pedological, and hydrological features, assemblages, systems, and processes. Geodiversity includes evidence of the past life, ecosystems, and environments in the history of the Earth, as well as a range of atmospheric, hydrological, and biological processes currently acting on rocks, landforms, and soils. So we know that we have 7 environment components, but only 5 of them are geodiversity factors. I mean bedrock, landforms, water, climate, and soils. In many definitions of geodiversity, we have only 3, bedrock, landforms, and soils. But water and climate not always are included to geodiversity analysis. So for me, it is very important to have 5 components of environments in geodiversity analysis. Geodiversity has a very broad, very wide context, because geodiversity comprises geosites, geomorphosites, fossils, and geoarchaeological sites. It includes also geoheritage issues, geoconservation action, many geoparks, and also geotourism for ordinary people. So therefore, we can all these things can assess in terms of geodiversity. From the geodiversity perspective, a geodiversity, or in other words, outstanding landscape, is a feature which is rare, unique, and exceptionally well expressed example of its kind, and last but not least, have a special importance within a given region. For example, 2 rare and unique landforms like Namib Sea in Namibia and cenotes in Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. So it is very outstanding landforms and occur only in this place, nowhere. We can ask what kind of factors we can, what factor play important role in assessing of geodiversity. What is the first feature we see in the landscape? What is the most important feature in the landscape? So it means that we give the first question and we ask in the field is about shape and size in the landform in landscape. Only then do we ask what it is made of. And therefore, after review different papers, literature, we can state that landforms are the most important element of geodiversity. Next, ordinary people see in the landscape plants, vegetation, next water like rivers and lakes, and on the end they ask about geology, about climate and soils. So few examples of different kinds of landforms. Here is the example of very high mountain, Annapurna, and very deep canyon, Grand Canyon, and very flat area in Nullarbor Plain in a few thousand square kilometers in Central Australia. Here is an example of different types of cones, shape of cones, like volcano Jasur, like limestone Vortikamien in Spitsbergen, alluvial fan also on Spitsbergen, and shifting dune run in Atacama Desert. A karstic landscape with different types of towers, hills, very high or very typical landform like in Mogotus in Viñales on island of Cuba. And 2 different kinds of landforms, one run in down, second run in up. And different types of volcanoes with different shape of slopes, very gently slopes for shield volcano in the island of Réunion, and cinder cone volcano of Paricutin in Mexico. and carved forms like rock meander in the USA and rock arch also in USA. Tor forms, very exciting forms, micro mesoforms on Roraima in Venezuela, in Polish mountains Karkonosze, and of course monument valleys in USA. They are formed in different types of rocks like granite, like sandstone, and so on. Different types of ages, rock ages, smooth and rugged ages. Hollows and basins, like blowout or sinkhole, and thermokarst lakes in Alaska. Channel patterns of rivers, braided and meander river pattern in Mongolia and Iceland. And symmetry and asymmetry in different kinds of landforms, like volcanic cone of Fuji and ripples in Namibia. And we also observe declassiation and glaciation, and therefore we can observe landscape, proglacial, periglacial, and paraglacial landscapes in different places. Also, we have constructive forms like classical atoll or termite mounds, or destructive forms like impact crater impact, and bedlands. And on the end, we have fan-shaped forms. And after these few slides, we can state that by interpreting the landform shapes and patterns, we can learn about morphodynamic Earth processes and trends, I mean in spatial diversity and temporal variability. So we have different kinds of geodiversity assessment. We published some chapter in the book about geoheritage, and we divide methods on three kinds: qualitative, quantitative, and qualitative-quantitative methods. And two last methods, quantitative and qualitative-quantitative, works very well with methods based on geographical information systems. We have many methods, from very simply like descriptive documentary, and we have some methods which modeled geodiversity using map algebra or analytical hierarchy process, but we have also many problems with these methods. For example, availability of thematic data about geology, about landforms, about soils, about hydrography or hydrology, availability of digital data when we use geographical information systems, dimension of spatial analysis, what resolution we need to our analysis and assessment. Next, lack of developed and recognized method of assessing geodiversity for various areas around the world. And last but not least, no possibility to comparative studies for different areas. Can we compare, for example, desert and karstic area? It is a very difficult problem for us for today. And here is an example of one of the methods. We can create factor maps of geodiversity, and next using 6 elements like relief energy, landforms, hydrological elements, geology, climate, and soils, and 5 classes of geodiversity from very high to very low class. And here is the final result, geodiversity map for the Tatra National Park in Poland. And as you see, ridges are red or orange, and the bottom of the valleys more or less in green colors. So it means low and very low geodiversity on the bottom of the valleys. But the problem is when we compare some areas, and here is an example of 25 selected 25 islands from Mediterranean Sea, and the problem is, the question is, which island has rich or modest geodiversity? And we use some geodiversity index which calculate geodiversity for each island, and the result is Ibiza has rich geodiversity and Kos Island has modest geodiversity. Geodiversity is connected with the geo-ecosystem services. We have many papers about connections between services and geodiversity, and here's some examples which divide the services for biological structures and processes and geodiversity structures and processes. Therefore, we can speak about biosystem services, geosystem services, and ecosystem services when we on the border between biological and geological geodiversity structures and processes. So it is a very important division between ecosystem, biosystem, and geosystem services. And here is the example from another paper where we have surface and subsurface and divided for supporting, provisioning, regulating cultural services, 4 categories, and different types of services, biotic and abiotic on the surface, and biotic and abiotic, especially from subsurface. Here's a very nice diagram presented by Silva and Nascimento, and some conclusions that geodiversity should be positively related to geosystem services, and geodiversity should be more strongly integrated with geosystem services. Geodiversity is connected also with sustainable development goals. As you know, we have 17 goals, but geodiversity very well works with 12 goals and 55 targets or tasks within 12 goals. So therefore we can say that geodiversity underpins biodiversity, society, and economics. Very nice picture which illustrates dominating role of geodiversity in sustainable development goals. Some examples: goal 4, which say about education, and here is an example from the virtual Oxford Geodiversity workshop from the 2021, and the workshop has the purpose to awareness of geodiversity protection. Another example where we have very strong emphasis on natural disasters, different disasters, but also safeguard the words of natural heritage, including geoheritage. And another one goal connected with natural resources and sustainable management of natural resources. And last example of goal where we have many different systematic approach to geodiversity, to sustainable development goals, like for example ecosystems, sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, wetlands, drylands, and mountains, Also, another problem is combat desertification, restore degraded areas and soils, including those hit by desertification, drought, and flooding. And of course, protection of mountain ecosystems or geosystems. Therefore, we have International Geodiversity Day, which proclaimed by UNESCO, but it was a very long way to proclaim this day, and the beginning is 22 May 2020, when Professor Murray Gray and me sent email to Professor Brera with the proposal to establish this International Geodiversity Day. It was a very good occasion because a few days later was a virtual Oxford Geoheritage Conference, and all 600 participants from 60 countries declare that we call for the establishment of International Geodiversity Day to increase understanding and awareness of geodiversity issues. And the next 4 months, it was very hard work for Professor Jose Brila, Professor Murray Gray, for Dr. Jack Matthews, and for me. And we collect supporters for this idea from 19 international, 7 regional, and 82 national geoscience and nature conservation organizations in 40 countries from all continents. So between, among others, as you see, we have also IAG, International Association of Geomorphologists. In September 2020, we sent our documents to International Union of Geological Sciences, and in November they sent documentation to UNESCO. In UNESCO is a very long way. 1 year documents was elaborated by different forums. But we have very strong support from Mr. Christoph van der Berge and Dr. Özlem Aydiyaman. And all these documents was sent to the different meetings, conferences, and so on in UNESCO. And as I said on the beginning, on 23rd November 2021, the 41st UNESCO General Conference approved the idea of the International Geodiversity Day. And as you know, 5 days ago, we celebrated first time the International Geodiversity Day. Some sentences from UNESCO documents. I think it is interesting, like wide perspective has UNESCO for geodiversity. The proclamation of an International Geodiversity Day would provide an annual reminder of the essential role of geodiversity for human well-being and for the sustained management of the whole planet. It provides the foundations and habitats for all living things. Geodiversity is the source of materials that build our towns and cities. Geodiversity provides our energy resources, including renewable energy and the materials meant to manufacture wind turbines and solar panels. Geodiversity allows us to store our waste, provides us with fresh water, and attenuates our pollution. Geodiversity helps us to understand and predict natural hazards, very important thing. And last but not least, geodiversity inspires our artists and provides us with incredible landscape from mountains to coasts. On 5th October this year was the ceremony of opening exhibition on geodiversity, and 2 ambassadors from Poland and from United Kingdom Also, ambassador from Portugal opened this exhibition. And on the beginning, the first plate of this exhibition informed what is geodiversity. And on the next 17 plates are different examples of geodiversity. Among others, I sent one plate regarding European Center of Geological Education in the Holy Cross Mountains UNESCO Global Geopark.
Dear Grandma, this morning I received your letter. I do not have all the answers, but I think I know where to start looking. Yours truly, Frankie.
Do you ever stop to wonder where the rocks you stand on come from?
You sent me to search for a place where the water captured the rainbow. I didn't think it was real. From here, I must find the kingdom of forgotten fire.
Remember, look too closely at the trees and you might not see the forest. Look for slumbering giants that hide in plain sight.
Two worlds colliding, seeing backwards through layers of time.
As you begin to look at the world with new eyes, you will start to find details that will amaze you.
You told me about a place where all roads must end, a place where I couldn't go any further. I think I found it. Thank you, Grandma.
So this spot was produced by Ministry of Foreign Affairs of our country, and it is very nice spot about geodiversity produced on the occasion of the International Geodiversity Day. So on the end, I have some proposals for activities as part of the International Geodiversity Day. For example, we can create slogan for each year, for example, dedicated to one of the geodiversity elements, dunes, rivers, rock type, soils type, fossils, and so on. We can organize some field trips or virtual field trips, billboards, posters, infographics on educational paths in different areas, designing and organizing an exhibition on geodiversity, permanent or periodic, including multimedia and outdoor exhibitions. We can organize some types of events in the style of science and art festivals, contests, quizzes, we can use social media, internet, geoportals, portals, spots, podcasts like on the aerial slide, interviews with scientists, popular science lectures, sessions, thematic workshops, rather of a scientific nature, and last but not least, periodic programs as well as TV and radio broadcasts. So we have different types of activity, and I think in next year we can use some of them. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. On behalf of the International Association of Geomorphologists, I welcome all the speakers and the participants from different parts of the globe. We are really proud and happy to celebrate the first International Geodiversity Day, although the actual date was 6th October. But because of the shortage of time after 10th ICC Coimbra, Portugal, we had decided to organize today. Mihai Mico, the IAG Vice President, I thank him for initiating this proposal during our first meeting in the Portugal to celebrate this first International Geodiversity Day. And I also thank all the IAGC members, especially Takashi Oguchi, Vice President IAG, Susan Conway, and Katia Lotte, IAG-EC co-opted members, and Maven Philip for making this venture in reality within a very short period of time. Now, what is the role of geomorphology in geodiversity, which is the theme of this International Geodiversity Day of IAG? Although many of the landforms are tectonically originated, but the topographic carving of different landforms are done by geomorphic processes. Those are more or less regulated by climatic parameters. Whenever people go to visit any geosite and geopark areas, firstly, they are attracted by the beauty of the landforms. Then they go to the details. For example, the granitic landforms in Portugal, Dangshan landform in China, cold desert in India, and many others. For creating all those landforms, geomorphic processes play a major role. Thus, contribution of geomorphology is very much important, and geomorphologists play a vital role in analyzing the processes behind the shaping and reshaping of topographic features. R.W. Fairbridge rightly wrote that geomorphology is the science of scenery of landforms. Now, International Geodiversity Day and the role of IAG. On 14 June 2021, IAG received a proposal from Zbigniew Zwoliński along with Josh Pilha, Murray Gray, and Jack Matthews regarding the establishment of International Geodiversity Day. It was decided in the Oxford GeoHeritage virtual conference already mentioned by GB. What happened? Why it has been fixed? On the basis of the justification given by them, everybody was convinced, and not only the IAG but also many national scientific members of the IAG along with other national and international organizations had supported this proposal. The proposal was supported by 74 countries, 20 international organizations and their working groups, 7 regional organizations and 102 national organizations. This data I have collected from the Geodiversity website. Out of 20 international organizations, 4 are from IAG. IAG plus 3 IAG working groups, and out of 102 national organizations, 30 IAG national scientific member organizations supported, in which our Indian Institute of Geomorphology is one of them also. At the end, the proposal was approved by UNESCO on 23rd November 2021. We congratulate Zbigniew Zwoliński and all of his associate team members for their tireless effort to make the proposal in reality. We are also glad to inform you that the wonderful work done by the committee of the IAG, led by Pietro Migon, along with the team members Paolo Crozza from Italy, Emmanuel Renard from Switzerland, Ghislain from Cameroon, and Zbigniew Zwoliński from Poland, to be enabled to incorporate 5 geoheritage sites in the 100 geoheritage sites list prepared by the IUGS. Now, out of these 5, 4 is already approved and one is in consideration. I congratulate all of them. Now, with this, I take the opportunity to show some of geomorphosites and geoparks from India. This is extracted from the book Atlas of Geomorphosites in India, edited by V.S. Kale. And this was published on the occasion of 9th International Conference of Geomorphology, New Delhi, India. Firstly, this is the physiographic divisions of India. In the north, you can find this lofty Himalayas. In the west, this is Thor Desert. Here it is coastal belts. And you know, altogether, India has 150 kilometer long coastline. In this part, there is Sundarbans, the biggest delta of the world. This is Ganga Jamuna Delta. And this is the vast Ganga Brahmaputra plains in this side. And the central part of India is occupied by Deccan Plateau, and it was extended up to this Meghalaya Plateau and Karbi Anglon Plateau. So this was dissected by this river Ganga through erosional processes. So along with this geomorphic physiographic divisions, in this book we have identified location of 31 geomorphosites and 5 geoparks, important geoparks. But out of these 5 geoparks, only one, Sundarban, is treated as UNESCO Geoheritage Site. But apart from this, none of the geomorphosite or geoparks are recognized by UNESCO. Now the first one is cold desert landscape. Cold desert landscape. And it is here only, it is in the Himalayas, northwestern part of the Himalayas. And this template we have formed as per the book. The Professor Kale has followed the IUCN guideline and prepared a 10 points, this template for preparing this data of different geomorphosites and geoparks. So this is this granodiorite batholith and Jascon metasedimentary rocks. This is the formation, and this is important for fluvio-glacial landforms. And this is the barren Ladakh range and thickly vegetated Leh Valley downside. And brief geomorphology of that area, it displays a cold desert landscape primarily sculptured by multiple quaternary glaciation, then fluvial erosion, cryogenic weather, frost action, and mass movement processes in a tectonically active belt. So most of all types of geomorphic processes are present here. These desert-like conditions prevail due to rain shadow effect of the higher Himalaya. Now, this is the assessment table we have followed according to that this 10-point table, and this is the arid and semi-arid systems in IUCN theme, and this is a geomorpho park, great variety of landforms and features. That is why we have designated as a geomorph park. It is in the Himalayan mountain. So in northern part, this is Ladakh range. In southern part, this is Jaskar range, through which this is Leh is located here, through which different types of landforms have been formed. In this side glacier, this side is glacier, and here it is fluvial action. So a number of this valley and tectonically formed these features are there. Here it is Jaskar range, glaciated peak. Here it is alluvial fan belt. This is Leh Valley. And these are the moraine deposits, and this is tectonically active Indus Valley. These are some of the features, which is this debris covered, this gently sloping surface. This is a fan formation. Here it is a terrace is formed, and this is the confluence point, beautiful confluence point of Indus and Jaskar. This is a tourist attraction as well. This is this glaciated valley, U-shaped valley. And this is a semicircular terminal moraine. In this part, these lacustrine deposits are also here, and this is obstacle dunes. So this area is composed of a number of different landforms. Next, another is Sundarban mangrove wetlands, West Bengal, and it is located here in the eastern part of India along this Bay of Bengal. And this is mangrove wetland. It is famous for mangrove wetland, and it is formed during Holocene period. And this creek margin vegetation, the Sundarban mangrove in the Sundarban mangrove wetland is world famous. See, the coastal region of Ganga Brahmaputra Delta evolved by formation of 4 overlapping eastward young deltae. This lobes during this 5 to 2.5 thousand years. And this is about 15,000 square kilometers area it is covered. Now the mangrove is about 6,100 kilometers, out of which 37% is India and the rest in Bangladesh. And this is also a geopark. It is high diversity and tidal landforms. It is in Indo-Ganga Brahmaputra plains at the mouth of this Indo-Ganga Brahmaputra plain. This is the location of this Sundarban in Indian part. And a number of anabranching channel and an anastomosing network of creeks are found here. And this is the vegetation of tiers of accreting Lothian Island and interior of Western Sundarban. This is exposed low tide clay banks in the eroding sea-facing coast in southern Sundarban. This is in central Sundarban dense mangrove forest with still tooths. And this is low tide exposure of creek adjacent mud flats in island interior of Sundarban. The third geopark is Laterite Cape Mahabaleshwar Plateau. This is in the western part of India. And this is famous for Laterite Cape Plateau and mesas. And this is also famous for hill resort in western India. This is a lake at the top of the plateau, which is called Vena Lake. This is a man-made lake, not a natural lake. And it is located in the Western Ghat escarpment. Mahabaleshwar is the highest plateau in Deccan Tract. And it is formed in early Paleogene laterites. I think the trap sequence contains over 48 horizontally bedded basalt lava flows, sometimes this separated by red beds, and this outcross shaped laterite plateau has a radial tidal drainage pattern. This is also geomorphic, high geomorphic diversity variety of landforms in Indian peninsula. And this is the location octopus-like shape, octopus-shaped Mahabaleshwar plateau. It is just looking like octopus. And see the beauty, a sweeping view of laterite covered and thickly forested Mahabaleshwar. The top part is thickly forested, but this slopey part is very less dense forest. And this is the Western Ghat, this Mahabaleshwar plateau. This is Savitri Valley. Downside, this is Savitri Valley. And the scarp initially created by rifting time of the separation of this Silex and India, Sicily and India, due to this the separation, a huge amount of volcanic eruption took place, and due to which numbers of granite layers have been formed. This is a beheaded valley of Krishna River. How beheaded valley is formed, I will show. This was the Western Ghat scarp. This was the valley. But due to this retreat of scarp, this valley has been beheaded, and this is the Krishna River Valley. So these are the three example proposed geoparks we have shown. Now just 2-3 very quickly I will go some this geospots. This is paleothems of Mishmai Cave in Shillong, and this is the entrance of this Mishmai Cave in Shillong. And this is Meghalaya, is called Meghalaya, means abode of clouds. The name was given by a geographer, Professor S.P. Chatterjee, who was the president of International Geographical Union during 1964 to 1968. And it is the most visited, accessible and well illuminated cave in Meghalaya, 3 kilometers south of Cherrapunji. Cherrapunji is known as the place where the highest rainfall of the world takes place. This is formed in Eocene dolomitic limestones, and there are several evidences of mechanical disintegration and other geomorphic processes also. So this is the new cave and this is the old cave. Now it is integrated, and if you enter from this one, you can cover the whole cave at a stretch. Last draperies and or cartentite formation in Mishmai Cave. This is some speleothems of different sizes and shapes in the Mishmai Cave. Next one is Gorbeta Badlands. It is in West Bengal, again from eastern India. This is the beautiful topography formed in the laterite during this quaternary sediments, on the quaternary sediments. And this is Shilai River brief form. The full name is Shilavati River. And this is also extensively dissected by western tributaries. And Bhagirathi Hooghly, the high gradient fringe areas are the formation of characterized by gullies and ravines. So this badland topography is also beautiful. In both sides there are laterite uplands. Middle side, this is Shilai River. And in all places, these gullies have been formed and ravines have been formed. So this is the satellite image of Gorbeta Badland, it shows the gully networks and escarpments. These are some of the features from the gullies. This is flat top surface dissected by gullies and Gorbeta area. This is rhizoliths, one of many types of ichnofossils in Gorbeta. This is called the storehouse of different fossils, and a partified wood exposed in a gully, a side wall. And the last one is a landslide complex in Darjeeling, Himalaya. This is called the capital of landslide. This is famous for this tea, timber, and toy train and tourism. Darjeeling is famous for. So this is the landslide of 2015 in Tindharia area. This road is affected by landslide in almost this every alternate year. And now there are it is formed of different geological formation like this Darjeeling Knees. After that, Darling Coal, Damoda Coal series. Then this after that, Damoda formations. All these are, most of the rocks are very fragile in many places. Apart from Darjeeling Knees, it is, you can find the bands of mica schist, phyllite, and all these things. Now, this is a geomorpho spot. Features associated with only slope failures. And this is the location and topographic setting. And you see the slope, this taken from Google, and you can find these barren slopes, which is tectonically active, as well as very many other geomorphic features are also visible in that area. This is from two slopes, eastern and western slope of Darjeeling town, and all of the slopes are affected by these landslides. This is the domal topography, which was this deforested by the local people to cultivate this tea plantation. And this was the biggest landslide of Darjeeling Himalaya, which occurred in 1968. Professor Lesjak Starkel has started to do work. After that, we have continued. And this is the Ambutia landslide scar. You see the total area is more than 2 square kilometers. So it is gradually becoming stabilized. With this, I thank all of you very much for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Okay, now you can hear me. Maybe. Thank you, Professor Oguchi. I would like, first of all, to thank you and IAG and everyone in the commission that gave me the medal. But I'm here today to show you, in name of the Italian Association of Physical Geography and Geomorphology, which is the Italian experience in relation to the International Geodiversity Day. I hope you see my presentation, because I have several. Oh, okay, maybe now is better. Okay. So this presentation is made in collaboration with other colleagues from Italy, Paola Corazza, Marco Giardino, and Pelfini Manuela, which are the coordinator of the working group on geodiversity and geomorphological research. So the Italian Association of Physical Geography and Geomorphology is devoted to scientific research on geomorphology on the Italian territory, but not only, and also to education and promotion of geomorphology. In particular, their action are coordinated under working groups. They are nominated every 4 years, and in 2020, the working group on geomorphostats and geodiversity was established as far as 2026. During the first week of October in Italy, the association organized a series of events, and especially the meeting of the delegates, the National Congress on Geomorphology, and the 9th edition of the Italian Young Geomorphologists Day. Especially on the International Geodiversity Day, held in 6 October, the association planned the 7th edition of the National Congress on Geomorphology, during which the researches of working groups were depicted, and also the Italian Young Geomorphologists Day. These are some pictures of the of the events. As you can see, the meeting of the delegate, the scientific session with oral presentation and poster presentation, and also some young Italian geomorphologists that have been awarded for their excellence in scientific research in the geomorphological field on the Italian territory, but not only. Coming back to the Geomorphosite and Geodiversity Working Group, during this Congress, the coordinator Marco Giardino, in collaboration with Paola Corazza, prepared an invited talk on geodiversity and the geomorphological heritage in relation with the global change. The talk was organized mainly considering global geodiversity with a specific focus on the Italian situation. So different posters were also realized on mapping, geomorphosites risk and degradation, and the geomorphosites promotion. With the collaboration of another working group on urban geomorphology, a poster on urban geomorphosites was also realized. In particular, today I would like to show you which are the main results of the 2 years of work of this working group, especially on geomorphosites mapping. The scientific question that moved the action of the working group is the following. How can we represent the geosites in the specific geomorphosites on geomorphological maps at medium at large scale? Because usually these maps are extremely informative but complex and rich in symbols. In fact, for what concerns the Italian experience, we have, for example, different elements depicted in this kind of maps. We have bedrock lithology depicted with solid color. Lithologies are grouped in relation to their response to geomorphological processes. We have also landforms and associated deposits that have their own colors according to the genetic processes they are formed by. Moreover, the shades of color can help in detecting which is the degree of activity of processes. That is very important for territorial planning strategies. So, which are the object of interest, the geomorphosite. In this case, the working group collaborators decided to adopt the restrictive definition that imply a high scientific value of landforms for understanding Earth life and climate history. In the specific, geomorphosites are featured by some characteristics that may influence their representation on the maps. Shapes and dimensions, so morphometry, diversity, that is morphogenesis, dynamics and evolution, that mean morphodynamics and geomorphological history of the territory, and also a scientific and territorial importance. More in detail, the methodology is structured around this classification that lists the geomorphosites according to geometry, genesis, and scientific and territorial importance. Concerning geometry, we can have point-like features, point-like landforms, or polyline and polygons, both of which, depending on the scales we are representing landform, may be transformed in point if the dimension is not enough to be depicted in their own form. And one category may move to the other according to the scale of the map. The second important feature is regards genesis, because we can have geomorphosites that are simple, so one landform for one process, like one karstic landform related to the karstic process, or may we have composite geomorphosites, where a set of landforms related to the same processes are characterized a portion of the territory. till the most complex situation where we have different processes that insist on a set of landforms, and all these landforms constitute these complex geomorphosites, as in this case where we have both glacial and karstic related landforms that coexist, and also in space and time. The last feature regards scientific and territorial importance. All these examples come from the Italian territory, and we can see local important sites passing through regional important sites, for as we can see in this big glacial amphitheater in the area of the Southern Alps to the Po Plain, national important features or global one. I would like to underline the importance of this site, that is the Vajont landslide, located in the eastern Italian Alps, an event that maybe every one of you have heard about, that occurred on 9th October 1963. It was a very catastrophic landslide that killed almost 2,000 people, and it was also proposed as one of the 100 geosites of the world for the IUGS. So it's a very relevant geosite. So the idea is to depict this important landform on geomorphological map used by the Italian National Survey for territorial planning. Point-like features are depicted only with a point that is constituted by a circle with gold color edge. The circle filling is realized with the color of the genetic processes. So in this case, green means water-related process, and the capital letter indicating the importance of the landform for the scientific point of view. So we have local, regional, national, or global geomorphosites. Concerning polyline and polygons, if they could be depicted as they are in reality, so the real shape could be put on the map because the spatial scale allows this. The idea is to border this landform or these sets of landform, if we have complex geomorphosites or composite geomorphosites, with a gold line. Moreover, the point is also put on the landform following the point symbologies. So the circle filling is realized with the color of the genetic process. This is a summary of these methodologies that you can find in this paper, as you can download for free on the web. It was published on the journal Sustainability, and whose aim was mainly to test this methodology in different morphogenetic and morphoclimatic environments around the Italian territory. So we can see several examples spread all over the Italian territory, where both simple, composite, complex geomorphosites were selected, both point, polyline, and polygon type of local, national, regional, or global importance. Some example. Concerning the fluvial environment, we have a study case in the Po Plain where beautiful paleomeanders are represented, and it is very important in this case to underline that if a passive inactive landform is indicating on the map, even if it's not really visible by people, they can understand that there is something important, even if not visible at first sight. The second case on the right is related to a rocky gorge carved by a river, where also important stratigraphic section outcrop, and this is important to indicate these geosites, these geomorphosites, for both geoconservation and promotion. Concerning coastal environment, we have diverse examples. Again, we have a valley gorge that arrives to the coastal in the eastern coast of Sardinia on the left, while on the right we are in the beautiful National Park of Portofino, where a beautiful rocky cliff is bordered by the gold edge, indicating the importance of this trait of the coast. In the mountain environment, we selected two different cases. On the left, we have a case from the eastern Italian Alps, where limestone outcrop diffusely, where karstic process interface with glacial ones. While on the right, we have mainly metamorphic rocks like schists and gneiss that provide a very different landscape with very complex relation between gravity, snow, water, and obviously glacial processes. Man is another important actor in these frames. Especially 3Ks can allow us to underline how man is important in relation to geodiversity and geoheritage. In particular, we can see example of both archaeological assets. In the upper part on the left, we can see an important landslide in the western Italian Alps, where archaeological findings increase the cultural value of these sites and are strictly related with the morphology of the territory. On the right, we have a beautiful submerged archaeological sites that testify how man adapts during times to sea level changes. And pose the problem of how to indicate a submerged geosite, for example. In the below part on the left, we can find the iconic example of Rome, the Terna Urbs, where men deeply affect the morphology of the territory, but some elements allow scientific researcher to reconstruct which was the morphology in the past and which is now the morphology modified by man. So to conclude this presentation, I would like to provide you some ideas. So the increase of literature on geodiversity, geoheritage is evident, and in some review paper, you can see some graph that really shows how scientists are now interested in analyze this topic. Many are the ideas produced, and the problem is how to coordinate all these very important ideas to produce a common and shared strategy to manage geodiversity and geoheritage. For example, there are several strategies regarding selection and assessment of geomorphosites, mapping strategies, promotion, geoconservation. The example of the Italian association that coordinates their action under the action of this working group on geomorphosites and geodiversity testified the possibility that the procedure created by a community may become useful to society. In fact, the proposed methodology in the Italian reality was adopted by the National Geological Survey to depict geoheritage on official cartography that is the tool for people working and managing the territories for territorial planning. This could boost and enhance the strategies to protect geodiversity and to favor geoconservation strategies. I would like to thank you for your attention and to thank all people that of the working group of the association that contribute to this presentation that I show you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So my work is the ecosystem services of Manengouba Maars Cameroon volcanic line. you must note that Manengouba is one of the volcanoes that compose the Cameroon volcanic line. As you can see on this map, we have the presentation of the CVL Cameroon volcanic line that range from the Atlantic Ocean till Lake Chad on the northern part of the Cameroon. It is a set of volcanic and plutonic apparatus. Mount Manengouba is made up of 4 mares. Like on this map, you have it. You have Beme Maars, you have female lake, female Maars, you can call it like that, male Maars and the child Maars. At the end, you have the JC1. These Maars have been built through many volcanic activities that rule the history of the Mount Manengouba, and they give rise to some petrographic units, as you can see, basalt, pyroclastic ejecta. This is the simplified geological map of and cross-section of the female lake and the male lake. You can have an idea about the distribution of those petrographical units. This one is the geological map and cross-section of Maars. And you must note that the volcanic elements are the component of the geodiversity, as stated by Brilia and al. 2018. Geodiversity components are the main element for sustainability of human society, since they are the goods and services that humans derive from nature. These benefits derived from Manengouba are now generally referred to as ecosystem services that include regulation, supporting, provisioning, and cultural one. Beme Maars is found in a dense forest that composes the Bakosi National Park. This is the first ecosystem services, that is the regulation services. We have in this satellite image the Beme Maars that is surrounded by a huge forest. Moreover, the female lake and male lake contain forest gallery on their south and eastern rampart. These pictures are the pictures taken in the field, as we have the evidence of those forests in the study area. The forest and the water allow the development of fauna and flora species. You have it, you can see the water, and we also have the green water of Male Lake that highlight the presence of flora species in the lake. Concerning the child lake, it is not a closed system. It is shallow and seasonal, recharged during the rainy season from June to October each year. The presence of water during this period fosters the development of phytoplankton and other aquatic species. You can observe the evidence in the field During the dry season, the phytoplankton disappear and the lake floor is overgrown with meadow. For Ghislain Zangmo, you must note that Ghislain Zangmo fostered the development of grassy meadow and some shrub on its internal slope and marshy bottom. Sorry. This vegetation covers are sources of breeding activity. It is accessible and supply cattle with water. In the dry season, the grass and the lake floor constitute the main food of the cattle. This is the supporting services of the maar in the study area. The overflow of Manengouba lakes is evacuated through an outlet that is located in the northwestern slope of Iboga caldera and is used to refuel the city of Bangui. We also have on the lake the swimming station and the fishing area that is used by local people for recreational activity or for livelihood. Another supporting services is that the maar foster the development of village around them. As you can see here, in the around the Beme Maar, we have some villages that are developing. Excuse me, I have some problem. We also have some villages around the male and female lakes. Here we have all these area. They are small villages developing around the maar. We also have here the village, the Buruku village around the Ghislain Maar. We have some pictures of houses of those villages here. We also have the supporting services of those maar. Those maar are one of the main attractions of local and international people in the area. You have here some pictures of tourists and the pictures of children swimming the lake, and also the pictures of some students for recreational activity in the area. We must pretend that the Manengouba Maars ecosystem services are significant. The presence of water fosters the proliferation of several flora and fauna species. Accordingly, it fosters several anthropogenic activity, including breeding, hunting, fishing, tourism, and ritual practice. These geomorphosites must be preserved because they play an important role in the balance of the ecosystem. Thanks for your kind attention.